That's the thing. She said she wished I would have hit her.
She wished that you would have hit her? Why is that?
Rather than choke her.
Okay.
She said, I wish you would have hit me. She's like, if you would have hit me, I wouldn't be as afraid of you as I am.
It's the middle of the morning on May 2nd of 2019. Officers from the Alvin Texas Police Department knock on the door at the residence of 34-year-old Jesika Sullivan. Two young girls answer the door and they tell the police that their mother is still asleep. The officers will soon learn a horrible crime has been committed inside Jesika's residence. But for now, they know that these two young girls are not supposed to be home. It's a school day, and the district has contacted Jesika's mother about the unexcused absences of the little girls. The concerned grandmother attempts to contact her daughter by phone, but she has received no replies. She decides to contact the police to perform a wellness check. When the officers arrived at the residence and made contact with the two young girls, they were led into the home to check on the mother. Upon entrance into the master bedroom, officers would find Jesika with her head and her arms submerged into a partially filled bathtub. There was blood in the water, and her cell phone was also submerged in the tub. Police quickly start to look for answers, and what better person to ask than her estranged husband of 6 months, 34-year-old Brandon Tyrone Garrett. It doesn't take long to find a reason to suspect Brandon Garrett of being responsible for what police are classifying as a homicide. Just a few days earlier, Jesika's sister had received a frantic phone call. Jesika was crying and spoke about how Brandon had tried to strangle her. The sister would later recall that Jesika had feared for her life. Now, after Jesika is presumed to have been murdered, Brandon is on the radar of the police, and he needs to explain his whereabouts and his tumultuous relationship with his bride of only 6 months.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh my God, I'm crazy.
Brandon Tyrone Garrett. Okay. I'm going to read this to you before we get started, okay?
So they read him his rights. Then he starts confessing. Well, kind of.
You understand these rights I've read to you? Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Do you knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waive these rights I have read to you, and do you desire to talk to me or give me a written statement at this time?
You said you don't want to waive my rights?
I'm asking, do you knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waive your rights that I have read to you, and do you desire to talk to me or give me a written statement at this time?
I want to talk. I need to know what's going on.
Okay. Well, that's what we're here for, is to talk to you so we can try to figure out what's going on here. Okay. So you know what the warrant is for. What you're arrested for. What you're being charged with right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Do you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Basically, while we're here, I do suffer from, we call that depression.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. You have to speak up a little bit. Kind of hard to hear.
I do suffer from disorder.
Okay.
And over time, if I let things out or don't treat it, I black out sometimes. And things happen that I actually don't, it happens out of nowhere, then I'm back to normal, like nothing happened. It happens. I'm not excusing it. I accept fault that happened, and it happened on Monday or Sunday. Sorry, it Sunday.
Okay.
My wife told me that I broke her loose. That's why I got the scratches on my arm. I broke my front door, and I choked her. When I came to realize what was going on, I stopped. I let her leave and go to her mom's house, and that's what happened on that incident. It was provoked, and that's the last thing my wife and I talked about.
You said it was provoked?
Yes, but I'm not making an excuse.
Okay.
I'm not making an excuse.
What prompted all that to happen?
My wife she's very emotional, and she got into it with her sister because I'm one of those parents that's a strict parent. I don't spank my daughters, but if they're not doing something right, I'll yell and to get them to do it right. And her sister, who's way in California, doesn't like that. So my wife, she plays both sides of the fence. She's like, I don't want to, how you say, show this person favoritism, but not show this person favoritism. It's like she's back and forth, so she's in a mental struggle of her own. And she gets into it with her sister. I had no idea at the time what was going on. I get out the shower, she's crying. I'm like, what's wrong? She's leave me alone. I was like, okay, that's fine. We're laying in the bed. She goes to the living room, and then she goes in the living room, and all of a sudden she's texting me all this nasty stuff. She's like, I don't want you no more. I don't want to be with you no more. Blah 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 blah. Like just going off in text messages. I'm like, what's going on? So I go in there and I try to talk to her. She don't listen. So I walk out. I leave and I walk outside. I walk around the complex. I'm actually on the phone with my mother-in-law. Explain to her what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with her. What she did.
And this was on Sunday?
This was Sunday, yes. I came to the front door. I came back to the front door. I walked probably like 30 minutes around, like over there. I come back to the front door. She locked me out. And I'm knocking gently. I'm like, can you come open the door, please? And I'm not mad. I'm not religious or anything. Can you please open the door? And so now she's texting me instead of talking to me. Nope, I'm going to sleep in the car. You're not coming in the house. So I just remember, I know what I did. I broke the door in and I choked her for locking me out, but I just don't remember doing it. But that's why the only thing I remember is once I finished, I wouldn't say I finished, I would just remember her saying, babe, and I just snapped out and I just backed up and I backed away from her. And I just let her get her keys. So she's like, I understand, I'm sorry, I provoked it, I shouldn't have done that. She grabbed her keys and woke the girls up and they went to her mom's house in Webster.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what happened Sunday.
Okay. So you said did you take any kind of medication or anything
And
for that?
that's my problem. I used to take, and it starts with a C. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was for the depression and the.
You've been diagnosed with this?
Yes, sir. I tried to wean myself off of it. Wean myself, basically self-medicate myself, or self-cure myself, should I say. I don't really like taking meds. I don't like keeping up with it. So I'd rather just try to work through it myself.
Okay.
But I can just honestly say that trying to do it yourself without the meds, it's not easy. So even smallest little things could kind of send me into it. I was more depressed than mad. I was depressed all the time. People say, what's wrong? Like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, but I feel like I'm okay. Feel like I have a straight face, but now I look up in the mirror sometimes and I just look terrible. And that's me not taking my meds. And I actually had to be checked in October into the facility because I had a huge depressive state of mind. But I had to stay with my opinion.
So that was Sunday morning when all this occurred, or afternoon?
Sunday, it was nighttime.
Okay.
It was around, I want to say it had to be 9-10 p.m.
Okay.
After the girls had went to sleep.
Okay. And what? So after that happened, give me a timeline as far as where you were, what you did.
After that happened, she left and went to her mom's. I stayed at home for probably like 20 minutes. I can probably remember. 20 minutes, I got my car. I drove to where we used to live, which was on Hill Street behind here, in Foley Hill Apartments. I went over there and I actually laid in my car and I slept there. I had packed me a bag. And I slept there because I couldn't stay in the house. That's all I just remember. So I slept there, and then I went to work Monday morning.
And where do you work at?
In Grace Point, at IDG Architects. It's an architecture firm.
Okay.
I went to work, and I'm distraught. I'm devastated at work. Her and I are in communication. Again, she's saying, I know it was provoked, but, you know, and I keep saying, I was like, there's no excuse. I'm still saying, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for it to happen. If I could control it, it wouldn't have happened. But that's still no excuse. But when we were talking, and she's telling me what, you know, her sister's telling her. Her mom is, you know, her mom and I are texting each other, you know, just give her a little bit of time. Like, her mom knows who I am, and she was with us when I went to my depressive stage, so she knows I'm not just a bad person. So she knows, and I came home early. I wanted to see her
On Monday.
So, yes, I wanted to see her Monday. I just wanted to see her, and I know she was at home. So I came in the house and I was just like, I want to talk, but I'm not thinking she's still afraid. You know, she thinks that she's not able to rationalize what's going on. All she remembers is me being upset the day before. So she was sitting in the bed, and I was at the door, and she's just like, leave. I just want to talk. That's all. I want to talk. I wasn't going to do it. I just want to talk. She just happened to be on the phone with her sister. Her sister, I think she said her sister had already started calling 911. So either way, they're going to call 911 probably. So when she said, I'm on the phone, she lifted the phone up to her ear. I was like, all right, I just wanted to see you. Like I did, and I left. That's all I did. I left. So I went to my coworker's house.
Do you remember about what time that was? Monday?
It had to be floating either right before or right after afternoon. Because it was, yeah.
So early in the day?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember exactly what time. After I left there, I spoke with my coworker. I went to her house. She knew like my issue, my situation. I didn't give her 100% everything was going on. Just like, hey, my wife and I were getting into it. You know.
What coworker is this?
Joy.
Okay.
She I spoke with her. She works. I mean, she lives the closest to the job. And I figured if I'm going to be going to work, I at least want to stay somewhere closer. And I'm already stressed enough. I don't need to do a lot of driving, you know. So I said, and there's proof of this, because I remember asking, she's like, hey, what's your license plate number? Because I need to register with my apartment.
What you just heard is Brandon's attempt at an alibi. There will be future revelations about this, quote, coworker he went to stay with.
So Monday and Tuesday.
You asked who?
Joy.
What, her
No.
license?
Oh, no, she asked me what my license plate number was so I can register it with the apartments. Because if she told me if your car's over there after a certain amount of time when they see it, the tow truck driver comes through. If it's not registered, they'll tow your truck.
Where does she live at?
There's some apartments called Trade Winds of Willowbrook.
Okay.
It's off of Gessner and 249 in the Willowbrook area, by close to Willowbrook Park.
Okay.
And that's why I remained the majority of the time I was there. The last night I talked to my wife, which was Tuesday. She was on the phone. We FaceTimed each other. And she just kept saying, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I provoked you, I did it. You know, our life is over. That's all she kept saying, our life is over. Our life is over, I'm sorry, it is my fault. And I kept saying, no, it's not your fault. She's like, no, I love you, it's my fault, I did this to you. And I was like, I kept telling her, no, it's not. I was like, I'm going to check myself to the hospital. And she just kept saying, my family's going to disown me because I don't want to let you go because I love you. And that's all she kept saying. And she was crying like a lot, crying like hard. And I was just like, I'm going to get help. I will, which I was. I was actually about to do that today. I got FMLA from my job so I can go to the hospital. I had signed my paper, and I looked at it. The paperwork says the 30th. I actually signed the paper today. They were preparing them yesterday. They prepared them Monday, which was the 30th. Or Tuesday, whichever day 30th was, I talked to my boss about it. I can't remember exactly what day. So they're dated for the 30th. And I actually signed it literally this morning.
So you said you talked to her last night. What did you do? Like, so you said you stayed at a co-worker's Monday? Is that correct?
Monday night.
And Tuesday night?
Yes. And when I woke up this morning, I just remember waking up like around early, like 3, and I just felt this cold feeling in my body, and I text her, are you okay? What's going on? And I got no response. I've been texting her all day. I've been calling her. I know her, so instead of me, I stopped messaging. I stopped calling her. So I was like, well, let me just check and see if she's at work. So I called Fletcher and Noel, said she wasn't there.
Called it?
Fletcher and Noel. She worked at the Olive Garden right here in Alvin.
Okay.
She's a to-go specialist. I talked to them on the phone.
And when did you talk to them on the phone?
This morning, like early, like after it was. But she has to be there at 9. Mm-hmm. But I remember, I think the first phone call around it was like around 10 because I checked to see if she's at work. When they told me that she wasn't there, they were just like, yeah, that's not like her. She does not show up. So my second option was, okay, I know that we had discussions about the kids having a perfect attendance at school, so I called the school to see if the kids went to school. When they told me the kids weren't in school, I knew something was wrong. I was calling her mom. Her mom was like, just give her time. So I'm just like, I don't know. And then this afternoon, I finally looked it up. I was like, you know what? I just hope her car's gone. Because if her car's gone, it means she's not home. I mean, that she didn't do what I think she did. So I called Ashley in the office. Well, I just called the front office, but Ashley answered the phone. And I said, can you do me a favor? Can you please go check to see if my wife's car is in the parking spot, 1502? And she said, okay. And then I think that's when you called me back.
Okay. So when was the last time that you were in Alvin?
The last time I was in Alvin was,
other than today,
was when when she called the police when I saw her.
What day was that?
Monday.
Okay. And that's when you went to...
That's when I went to her. I spoke to her. And that's when she said that she wanted me to leave. I left. And I went to my coworker Joy's house. And then I went to work which is this morning. I went to work this morning. And then I pretty much today, I was just riding around, really just burning gas because I didn't know how to. I was calling her and I didn't know what was going on, so I was just riding around in different places, just trying to hoping and praying that she said something to me. That's all I was waiting for her to say. Even if she would have texted me and said, I'm fine. That's all I wanted to do. I'm fine. It's like, okay. I had my paperwork ready on the front seat of my car. I had all my phone numbers written down in 40, so I can take it into the mental health facility, because we have cell phones, we don't memorize numbers anymore. So I had it ready. I was just waiting, and then I was actually by the mental health facility in McGregor Park. I was waiting to hear that. That's the only reason why I didn't check myself in earlier, because I had all the opportunity, but I was like, no, I need to hear from her first. So I want her to know where I'm at. Even though I said it, I want her to physically know where I'm at.
So the last time that you spoke to her on the phone was?
Last time I spoke to her on the phone was, what is today? It was Tuesday. Tuesday evening. It had to have been like around 9-ish. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but she asked me to FaceTime her, and then she FaceTimed me.
And where were you at?
I was in the apartment, trade winds, but Willowbrook.
What was the last conversation you had with her? Was about what now?
She blamed herself. I kept telling her, like, I accept, baby, I accept my part. It's not 100%. It's not 100% your fault, but it's more my fault, because I'm supposed to protect you. And she was saying, no, it's my fault. I provoked you. I knew what I was doing. Because her word was, I'm a terrible person. She's talking about herself.
So you said you last talked to her Tuesday. The late evening, somewhere around 9, 10 o'clock or something like that.
I haven't been getting sleep really. So
How long have y'all been married?
we've been married since November 9th.
How long did y'all date before that?
Not very long at all.
About how long do you think?
When we started, it's laughable on a certain page, but we started dating August 22nd.
Last year?
We've known each other since high school.
Okay.
We went to high school, so it wasn't like a stranger. She wasn't like a stranger I met, and it was like, all right, let's get in. It's like, we've known each other.
Okay. So, because y'all are still really fresh in your marriage, so love is still really strong. And today, you're trying to get a hold of her all day, and we started calling the school, and calling the apartment complex, calling her mom. If you thought something was wrong, why didn't you drive to Alvin to check on her?
Because the last time I saw her in person, she was afraid. I didn't want to see that.
Right.
I was just afraid. I didn't want to make my situation that I like do with this more. I didn't want to make it worse. So I was just trying to get other people to go over there, like, and not me, myself personally. I'll talk to them at work. I try to get them to send coworkers over to the house or something like that. But I've been calling other people to do it. Her mom wasn't answering her phone. I assumed that her mom was, because her mom's a professor at so I figured she was in Vita's own classes. That's why she stopped answering or didn't reply to me.
You figured she was what?
She was in classes or a meeting. And so that's the reason why. That's why I didn't come down here, because I've been in a situation before which would make it worse. Even if I didn't do anything at this particular point in time, I just didn't want to make the situation worse. She was already feeling.
I understand that, but when you called the school and figured out the kids weren't there, which is, by your own words, not a normal thing.
Right.
They had perfect attendance.
I thought that she took off and left. That was in my mind. I didn't.
But still, I'm trying to wrap my mind around why you wouldn't. Regardless of how she felt, you want to check on your kids. Because I know if I was in that situation and my wife was mad at me and, we had just gotten into a disagreement and she didn't want to see me, she ain't going to keep me from my kids. She's not going to keep me from checking on my kids. That's not going to happen.
Her words as far as the girls, because the girls aren't allowed to do mine. I'll say to my girl, but she was like, we'll get into it, and she'll end up taking it back, but she will always say, those really aren't, at the end of the day, they're not your kids, they're mine. So if I wanted to do something and take them, you have no say something, right? You have no legal guardianship over them, even though we're married, you don't. They have fathers.
So. I understand that too. I have two stepchildren. I realize at the end of the day, my wife can basically do whatever she wants to. But I love those kids as well. So if something was going on in my mind where I thought something may be wrong, regardless of her feelings about whether I was their father or not, or what role I played in their life, because I love those kids, I'd still check on them.
And that's why I was calling the school and trying to see if they were at school or what have you. That's why I was calling. But the reason I did not come to Alvin is because I did not want to, say for instance, she was at the house and I show up and now the girls are there. Like, I didn't want her to be scared and acting like that in front of the girls. So that's why I didn't come. Like, I was thinking about them. That's why I didn't come.
At any point during all this, if you were concerned about her welfare, why didn't you contact the police department?
The only and I was thinking about that too. Officer Hill, I was thinking about calling him, but like I said, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to send them to a panic, so I'd rather have somebody else go over there. Because Officer Hill was I was supposed to let me know when there was a warrant issue, because I had no idea that the warrant had been open. I had no idea, but he told me that he was going to, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm stalking her. So I was.
So you called when you called the school. Did you mention something to them about the conversation that you had with her the night prior to about it?
The only thing, suicide. It's with her. I didn't really think that she would go through to do anything. So the last thing I thought was suicide. I thought she was just gonna up and leave, because she kept saying that she was gonna up and leave. She was gonna regroup, like before, like when she was still like in her mad stage. That's what she was saying, that she was gonna upgroup. So I wanted to make sure if she was gone, I wanted to make sure before I went back to the house. And because other than that, I knew eventually I was trying to give her some space. That's pretty much what it was. That's one thing that I've failed in the past, is allowing space. So this time I was allowing space. I didn't want to force it, and that's what my mother-in-law said. Just give her some space, leave her alone. Give her some space, and she'll be fine. That's all she kept. So I was literally giving her space. I did not want to show up and come out here and it be an issue in front of her. Of course, I wouldn't do anything, but I wouldn't want her to look threatened in front of the girls, and the girls be afraid of me.
The reason I bring that up is because whenever you and I spoke on the phone, you had alluded to, whenever you were asking me questions, if she was okay, is she alive, something to that effect.
Yes, and that's only because you weren't telling me. So that's what made me start thinking. It's what you weren't telling me, and that's why I was thinking, like, okay, is she okay? So.
Has she ever talked to you before with you?
She told me she did before. She told me it was years ago, around when she had her oldest daughter. She said she drank pills. And tried to, and they had to. I don't know the full extent. I don't know the full extent of what happened, but she kind of mentioned it. But this was, she talked about this, I want to say a few months ago. She kind of like went into detail a little bit about it.
What brought that conversation?
Because I was at one point. This is why I was checked into a mental hospital in October, the same one I was about to go to today. So, and she told me about it. And she said she knows, she understands, and she understands. That's why she's actually the one that checked me in. It was involuntary. That's why, I had to go. It was involuntary.
What was going on then? That was just...
What was going on here is just financial issues. I was still living in Houston. We were about to get married. So I'm in Houston and she's down here, and I'm literally paying rent in two places because, of course, I'm taking care of her and the girls, and I still have my house in Houston. And it was like too much. It's like I was being stressed. I wasn't seeing her every night. And then the nights that I was seeing her, it was too much for her to leave in the morning. I was like, well, I'd rather just come to Alvin, and I can leave in the morning because you have to pack up two little girls and leave early in the morning, and they're upset. So there's just a lot of stuff, a lot going on at the time.
So prior to Sunday, whenever y'all got into the incident where you choked her, had there been any arguments prior to that? Any type of physical confrontation between y'all?
That Sunday, we were at a splash pad. Everything was perfect. We were playing with the girls. Well, she was sitting down, but I was running in the water and playing with the girls through a sprinkler. This was the splash pad. She found it on map. I don't remember exactly where she drove. But it was somewhere in Pearland, closer to that Premier 6 movie theater, somewhere around there. We stayed out there for about a good hour and a half, so there was no issues at all. None.
I'm just saying, like in the past in general.
Oh, and like you have normal spats that a married couple would, disagreements as far as what I'm gonna spend the money on. No, not what she's gonna spend the money on, because I didn't spend the money. I just paid the bills. Stuff like that. Me being the main breadwinner, and she didn't spend money on stuff. Like, I don't get I'm super passive. I wouldn't get upset, but it would be the way I respond that she didn't like it. And so she was more of the aggressive one, and I'm not saying aggressive as in physical, but like aggressive as in she'll be the one to yell about certain things. And she liked to argue in front of I didn't like to argue in front of the girls, and she'll scream at me in front of the girls, and I wouldn't raise my voice. Definitely not in front of the girls. But, that's about it.
Is that what happened Sunday evening that set everything off?
Mm-hmm. What set everything off was a conversation that I later found out that she was having with her sister. And her sister doesn't like the fact that I'm a strict parent. Like, she's stern. Like, she let the kids pretty much do whatever they want. Like in public, they'll be yelling and screaming and not, listening to adults in public. And I was raised different, and I would tell them, I would yell at them, and I would yell at them like, hey, y'all need to sit down. Y'all need to. And her sister didn't like that. And her sister compared me to their ex-stepfather, and my wife didn't like the fact that she compared him and I, because she basically, they're totally different people. Like, don't disrespect him and compare him to him. He doesn't spank my children. He just, so what, he yells. He's pretty much their dad. So that was their disagreement, but it spun off her being mad at me because of her having an issue with it. So that's what I was saying. She was poking and saying hurtful things to me, and I was trying to console her. She was crying. She was laying in the bed crying. I was like, well, what's going on? Talk to me. just leave it alone. That's what she said, just leave it alone. I was like, okay. And I just kept watching TV. And she ended up just getting out the bed. She took her pillow and went to the living room. And 30 minutes later, she just started texting me mean stuff and saying she don't love me and she never loved me. And I was just like, what? Why would you say that? And that's what made me go outside. And I called her mom. I told her, I was like, yeah. And she said, what's going on? I was like, I don't know what to do. And her mom was the only one I could talk to because her mom understood her. So if something happened, I would call her mom and we would talk about it. And because she didn't talk, she didn't like to talk. She refused to go to therapy. I've offered, I was like, we need to go to marriage counseling. We need to get some help. Nope, I'm not doing no counseling. And I think it's something that with her, it was about counseling, that she would have to reveal some things. She didn't want to reveal some stuff. So she never wanted to get help as far as that issue. You know what I'm saying? I'm not blaming her, but I've made attempts to do it. To marriage counseling, my counseling don't work. It don't help people. So, and that's why she said that it was her fault, because I literally wasn't doing anything. I was just trying to console her, and she flipped and blew up on me.
So Sunday, whenever y'all got into the physical altercation, and you choked her, did you hit her? Did you punch her? Slap her? Throw her to the ground or anything like that?
Just we were on the couch, and that's the thing. She said she wished I would have hit her.
She wished that you would have hit her? Why is that?
Rather than choke her.
Okay.
She said, I wish you would have hit me. She's like, if you would have hit me, I wouldn't be as afraid of you as I am because you choked me. So she said she would, but I mean, I'm not violent in that way. It just snapped and it happened. And I just, like I said, I just remember her saying, babe, saying something close to my name that she called me, and I snapped out of it and I just backed away from her. That's all I remember.
Do you remember when you choked her, did she go unconscious at any time?
I don't remember the during. I don't remember. The only thing I just remember is I kicked in the door. Well, I put my shoulder in the door, and I was just standing in the living room. That's all I remember, standing in the living room. And it's just like a black spot, and I just remember me releasing my hands from her neck. Because I just remember I hear her say my name.
Did you choke her hard enough to leave marks on?
She was like on the FaceTime. She said that it was marks. I'm not saying they weren't there, but I honestly couldn't really see them. Maybe my lighting wasn't up high enough, but I'm not doubting it. I hadn't seen her, so I don't know if there are marks on her neck. Or how severe the marks were on her neck. I didn't know.
You know if she went to the doctor or anything?
I know she went to the ER Monday morning. Yes, Monday morning. I don't know what the diagnosis. I don't know what. She didn't further explain that to me. I just know she went from what she told me.
Is that everything that you can remember as far as the last 48 hours, and you being 100% absolutely honest with me right now?
Yes, sir. This is like I can just remember. That's all I can remember as far as her and I.
So what do you think happened to her?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No, I mean, I thought the other detective was the one that took my phone and everything. I thought he was you. I couldn't recognize the voice, and now I'm listening to your voice. It's the same. am I going to be able to see her?
Are you going to be able to see her?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I want to see my wife.
And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that you're going to be able to or not. I don't know that.
So you were telling Detective Jackson you hadn't seen her since Monday. And you just made a comment about the other detective taking your cell phone. So speaking of that cell phone, when we check that history on your cell phone about the locations, what's that going to show us?
Locations. Give me my location on my cell phone. It's going to show where I was. And I was moving, like, especially like today.
This will be the location of one of 2 commercial breaks in this video in the future, hopefully.
I was moving around. I don't know. I went to Conroe today. Just riding. I didn't want to go too far. I was really just trying to kill time. Still trying to contact her. Still trying to contact everybody else.
What's it going to show us about last night?
It's going to show that I was in the trade window.
Not moving around?
What about your vehicle? You in your own vehicle the last 48 hours or so?
Yeah. I don't drive other people's cars.
Hmm?
I don't drive other people's cars. And I don't let other people drive my car.
What kind of vehicle are you in?
Kia Optima.
The vehicle have GPS in it?
I got it. If it's a 2018, so if it does, it probably does. You said GPS on it, like it has a GPS?
Most of the cars nowadays have the little nav and all that kind of stuff.
Oh no, I have Apple Car. It's all the GPS is in my phone card. So as far as the car itself,
So that phone is not going to show you an album since Monday. What if it does?
it shouldn't.
Shouldn't, or it would?
No, it wouldn't. That's what I mean by it shouldn't.
So, Detective Jackson asked you just a second ago if you were being completely honest with everything that you'd said. And obviously there's a reason that we're talking with you. And I know that you've dealt with law enforcement before, you've dealt with the court system before, correct? Dealt with juries.
I've never done with jury.
You just pled? You just pled guilty?
My court lawyer told me to plead guilty.
Okay.
Well, that's all right.
So, in any case that goes to trial, you're going to be dealing with a jury. And those juries are made up of people like you, people like me, basically your peers in society. And when they're listening to everything, in reference to the specific charge, whatever you're charged with, they're listening to all the evidence, and all that evidence includes your side of the story. So whatever your side of the story may be, if it's proven to be false, and you had the opportunity to tell the truth and not your version of the truth, how do you think that jury's going to look at you?
Yeah, I'm telling the truth.
I'm not saying you're not.
Right. No, I'm just
saying, what do you think a jury would say if you had the opportunity to tell the truth, but you gave a complete opposite story?
Yeah,
You think it's going to be harder on you, easier on you?
yeah, it'd be harder, but I'm telling the truth.
So, your wife, she's going for an autopsy. You know what that is, right?
Yes, sir.
So the medical examiner, they're going to do all kinds of tests on her, blood test, DNA test, toxicology, and they'll come up with a determination for the cause of death and manner of death. So if they come back and they say it's homicide, who do we need to look at?
Shouldn't be a homicide.
Why shouldn't it be?
I mean, not a homicide by me. That's all I can say is I'm going off of what the sources are looking at, and I didn't do anything to her. The last physical thing I did was I said I'm not proud of, I'm not bragging about it. It was Sunday, and I tried to talk to her on Monday, and the way she looked at me and the way she was afraid of me made me not want to. I wanted to give her some space to cool down. I wanted her mother told me the same thing when I was trying to reach her this morning. Give her space to cool down.
Well, if it wasn't a homicide, or if she wasn't killed by someone, then what happened?
I don't know what she did. I wasn't in the house. I asked how was she found, what happened. I don't have any knowledge of anything, so I couldn't give you an answer to what she did. I just know that she was upset the last time I talked to her.
Well, she was found face down in a full bathtub. That's how she was found. She didn't just fall in that bathtub. She didn't put herself down in that bathtub.
Face down in the bathtub.
Her face was in the bathtub, and the other half of her body was outside of the bathtub. So you can imagine how that looks. I know that you've mentioned suicide several times, not only to the school, but to Detective Jackson in here. It's not a suicide. So if we're being honest, and it's not you, if you didn't have anything to do with it, then who did? You're her husband. You know her. You know her contacts. You know her friends.
I don't know her. I don't know a lot of her friends.
Okay.
You've been together been married since November, correct?
She's going to tell you. She's going to tell you things as her husband about people she doesn't like, people that don't like her. If there's something that bad, she probably would have known about it. Who was pissed off enough at your wife to do that to her? I'm telling you, it was not accidental. She didn't do it to herself. Those two little kids in that apartment didn't do it to her.
Brandon, this is your opportunity to be honest.
I've been honest with you the whole
Let us know
time.
what's going
I've
on.
been honest with you the whole time. The whole time. I've been honest with you the
Brandon,
entire time.
I don't think you have been honest.
I have, yes.
Because, for one, 95% of this time that we've been talking to you, you haven't looked at us. You stared at the ground the whole time. You've only looked when you want to see our reaction to things that you say. That's the only time that you've looked at us.
No.
Yes.
No, that's not true, sir.
Yes, sir, it is. This is not my first rodeo. No, it's not yours. But there's things that we look for that are indicative that someone's not telling us the truth. So far, man, you've been spot on almost every one of them.
I have a problem.
So this is your opportunity. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe something bad happened. Maybe y'all had an argument. We don't know. We need you to fill in those details. But if you want to play games, and if you want to say that, I don't know what happened, I wasn't there, and later on we get results from the autopsy, we get your cell phone records, you get all this evidence that says otherwise, it's not going to be good for you, man.
Honestly, I just have a problem with eye contact. That's all it is.
Okay. Well, you can say that. That's fine.
There's nothing that Detective Kelly and I saw today in that apartment that tells either one of us that she committed suicide. Okay? The truth's either going to come out tonight or it's going to come out in the next few days. And whenever we start getting all this information back.
And that's the thing, man. He's right. The truth is going to come out one way or the other. And whether you give us your version of events now, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't believe. But we've got a mother of two little girls here. We're not going to stop until we find out what happened to her. So this is not going to go away. You can sit here, you can tell us that you were at work, or you stayed with a friend, or you called all these people, checking on your wife. Yet at no point did you attempt to check on your wife. You went through all other means. But we will find out what happened. And I'm not trying to be a jerk to you, man. We need to be honest. Honesty. Like I said, we don't know exactly what happened. There was another person there. We put things together. But there's only two people that know exactly what happened in that bedroom, in that bathroom. And one of them can't speak anymore.
I'm being honest, that's why I came in. That's why I didn't run.
You did run.
And
You did.
I talked to you on the phone, and you told me you were going to come in. And then 4 or 5 hours later,
We watched you all over the map.
still doing the back and
I
forth
think
thing.
we can't see where you're going. And if you think we can't find your cell phone records or where you've been, you're wrong. But you did run. And that's okay. I get it. You're scared. That's human nature. There also comes a time where you got to own up to what happened. you want to start over? Look, man, everybody that we've talked to said that your wife is a good one, doesn't have any beefs with anybody, gets along with everybody. She's a good mom. She goes to work. Had a very clean apartment. Everything that I saw about her is just a regular girl. And then we find her face down in a bathtub. She didn't do it to herself. She didn't slip and fall. There's a lot of work that goes into cases like this, Brandon. Lots of evidence collected. Lots of pictures taken. Records gathered. And I don't think you want to be on the wrong end of that stick when all that stuff starts rolling in. Because it's not going to be good for you. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. I mean, yeah, you're in a lot of trouble. I just want to find out exactly what happened to your wife. I think the only person that can tell me that is you. I mean, you can shake your head all you want. But you're the one that can tell us what happened. You were at that apartment.
What time did you get there last night, man?
You asked me what time I got
To her apartment.
Brandon, look at me, man. Look at me. Just look at me for a few minutes. Let's not play games.
I'm not playing games.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not.
Yeah, you're trying to give us the runaround. Just like you did earlier, driving all around town.
I was just afraid. I didn't know. First, I was talking to my aunt on the phone too. I'm not blaming her, but I was afraid I needed to talk to somebody. I didn't know what to expect until the last person I was having a conversation with. I was like, I'm just gonna
You know what I think happened? I think you messed up. I don't think you meant to do anything to your wife. Just judging by the way you've acted all day, by the way you're acting now, I think you know you screwed up. You did something stupid, you went a little too far. And now your wife's dead because of it. I mean, you're only telling yourself, no, you didn't do it. You're not telling me that.
I just don't want to be blamed for this.
You what?
I just don't want to be, now I'm being blamed for this. That's why I was like, when you told me that you come in and have questions, I was like, questions. Like, I wasn't even there.
Well, Brandon, you're married to her, and you're going. I'm getting information that you're making some strange phone calls that you normally don't make. When I do talk to you on the phone, you tell me you're going to be here. After you find out that your wife's deceased, and then you drive around for another 5 hours, and you tell us that you were afraid. If I just found out that my wife was dead, I would have been there as quickly as I possibly could have.
This will be the second and the last commercial break on this video. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button. Help me out. I appreciate you.
when I first I was on my way, when I got back to my car, I was on my way out here as soon as I possibly
Hey,
could.
man. Brandon, stop. Stop. Feeding us the lines, playing games. Detective Jackson is right. Any normal person, they found out their wife was dead, warrant or not, whether or not you knew you had a warrant or not, you're still going to go to the police and try to find out what the hell happened
I should
to your wife.
have came and not called nobody. I should have just came.
But instead, you did the complete opposite. You went the other way because we watched you on the map. You went away from your wife. You've been planning this all day. I need to call this person. I need to call that person. I need to say this. I need to do that. Like I said, I really believe that you made a mistake. I think y'all's argument last night went too far and you got scared. That's why you were scared.
Did you have another argument last night where you lost it like you did Sunday? Is that what happened? When it went too far? But that's what I think happened. I think all day today was just you panicked and you're trying to figure out some way to cover yourself. Just like Detective Kelly said, and like I said a second ago, your actions spoke for themselves today. Okay? And they didn't say, I'm a husband that's concerned about my wife, I'm going to put all my troubles aside and I want to go find out what's going on with my wife. Why are police officers at my apartment all day long? I know you know that we were there because you had spoken to the manager. And I know that you spoke to her several times while we were out there, asking if we were, yes you did.
No, I'm saying I didn't speak to her until about when I called her. That was my first time calling. When you had called me back,
Okay.
I didn't speak to her. I didn't speak to them all day.
Fair enough.
No, actually, you told us earlier that you did speak to her to go see if her car was there.
Yeah, that was like around 4 when I called, when he had called
Yeah.
me back. That's when that was. Yes,
So
sir.
you knew the cops had been there all day.
No, I didn't know that part. No, sir.
So the person that you claim to have been staying with for the last 48 hours since you and your wife got into that fight on Sunday, what would you tell me if I told you that we've already spoken to that person? That person actually reached out to us and basically told us that you're full of it, that you haven't been over there, you haven't been staying with her, and she don't want anything to do with any of this, and that you're lying about that.
That wouldn't be true.
That wouldn't be true?
No, sir. She didn't say that. I know she didn't say that.
Yeah, she did. So she don't want to get caught up in this mess.
I'm not saying you hadn't spoken to that person, because clearly you have. But I don't think that person would call us and say, look, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to be involved in it. I don't know what he's telling you guys. I want my name cleared in this situation.
That part I know that's not true. But
Whatever it is that you put in your head that you were going to tell us today, whenever you knew it was inevitable that you're going to have to speak to us. I know you're smart enough to know that. But whatever story that you have in your head, it's not jiving. It's not going to work. So, like I said, I've said twice, this is the opportunity that you have for yourself to be honest and tell us what happened, and not lie to us.
No, you're not, Brandon. It's a decision you're going to have to make. We can't make it for you. Are you gonna be a man and own up to your mistake?
I made my mistake Sunday and Monday by coming back.
The only reason you admitted to choking her is because it's a 3rd-degree felony.
I don't know the degree, to be honest with you. So.
Okay. Well, it's not murder. I get that. I get why you're admitting to that. Adamant to that all day long.
Brandon, we've been sitting in here for over an hour already. Okay. Detective Kelly has told you what we saw while we were on scene. I have not seen you shed one tear since you've been in here.
I've been crying all day. I'm dry. My mouth is dry. Everything is dry.
Yeah, well, your tear ducts aren't dry. You've shown no emotion. The only emotion that I've heard you share with us today is why you were on the phone. About 90% of that I didn't believe.
Nothing I can say.
It's gonna. I tell you what's gonna happen. It's gonna eat you up. Unless you were just a stone cold psychopath, which I don't think you are. I think you're probably a good dude. I mean, you married a chick with 2 kids, taking care of them. So I don't think you're on that spectrum. But I tell you what, if you are a good dude like I think you are, it's gonna eat at you, man. It ain't gonna go away. And that's what happens to good people when they mess up. They get paranoid, they get scared, it eats at them. I mean, think about those 2 little girls. You love those 2 little girls, right?
Yeah.
Think about them. Just think about them for a second. Now they don't have their mama. And you're playing games. Is that fair to them?
Not playing games.
Huh?
Not playing games.
Yeah, you are, Brandon. It is not fair to those 2 little girls. 9 and 5. Is that old there? 9 and 5. And the 5-year-old, she probably won't even remember her mom much. Pictures. But think about those 2 little kids. Because with everything stacking up right now, the fact that you say you were somewhere last night, and that person's already told us, no, you are not. You're driving all over town today, calling everybody but your wife to check on your wife.
Her phone can go straight to voicemail.
Okay, you still have a vehicle, you still have means to drive to Alvin to check on her. When you found out she was dead, you still continue to drive around. All those things don't stack up in your favor. You understand that? I mean, you get where I'm coming from?
I get what you're saying, but I was thinking differently. It had nothing to do with covering up. I just didn't want to provoke her.
So, say that again?
I just didn't want to provoke her or make her more upset because
Before that,
I didn't discuss.
before you said that, you said something covering up. What does that mean?
Oh no, I said I wasn't doing anything to cover up anything.
What do you mean by that?
Like I was being straight up. I wasn't.
I think the only thing that you've been straight up with me about is probably Sunday for the most part. I think you've been pretty honest about that. I don't think that you've been honest with me about what's happened since then.
I have.
So even thinking about those two little girls that you called your own, growing up without a mom, still doesn't faze you, does it? You don't give a damn that those kids are going to grow up without a mom.
I do give a damn.
No, you don't. No, you don't, because you've been staring at the ground for over an hour, feeding us lies about where you've been, what you've done, who you called, who's going to say you were at their house.
I'm just looking down. I'm just visualizing everything.
What? I can't hear you.
I said I'm only looking down because I'm actually visualizing everything.
Visualizing.
Visualizing.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing my wife and kids together with me. That's all I'm thinking
You
about.
visualizing her face down in the bathtub?
I want to.
Well, I'll tell you again, Brandon, this ain't going away. Whether you tell us the truth or we find out the truth by other means, it's not going away. And if we find out the truth by other means, it's going to be even worse for you. So is that the road you want to take?
I didn't do anything.
Look at me, man. Just because you speak softly and stare at the ground doesn't make me believe you. You don't seem like a victim to me.
I already know there's nothing I can say, but y'all have your mind
You
made up.
tell me the truth is what you can say.
I am telling the truth, but I can't convince you if you already have your mind made up. I've learned that.
My mind wasn't made up at all. Your actions tell me that you're not telling the truth.
My reaction to y'all reactions, like y'all don't believe me. So
Did you know she might be pregnant?
we were trying to have a baby.
So she was pregnant.
I don't know.
I think she was.
If she was pregnant, she never told me. As a matter of fact, she had just gotten. She might have either just got off her period, and she's off her period. And when she started her period last week, she said that she wasn't pregnant. She took her pregnancy test. I saw it. She wasn't pregnant.
When did she take the pregnancy test?
I can't remember exactly what day, but it was before she started her period. She started her period.
Why is she buying brand new baby clothes?
Oh, we do that. That's just something we were doing. She has a sister that's pregnant, and then we were doing that because it's unisex, so we were just preparing to, if we have a boy or a girl, if we conceive and make a boy or a girl, we don't have to worry about, colors. And gender neutral. She wanted to wait until the baby was actually born till we find out what gender it is. So that's why we had gender neutral clothes.
So would you get so pissed off at her about that this happened? What was the argument about?
I didn't argue with her. We didn't get pissed off at her.
Were you pissed off that she filed charges on you for choking her?
No.
You were.
She told me that she didn't file charges.
Huh?
She told me that she didn't even file charges.
You were sitting in jail on those charges.
I know. She told me. I talked to the officer. He said that she didn't file. He had to file the charges.
So you knew you had charges filed?
He said that he was filing, but he said that there wasn't a warrant issued. He would call me if there was a warrant issued.
Okay. But you just said that he told you he was filing charges and
Right.
be a warrant issued for your arrest.
He said he called me and he said he would allow me, once he gets the warrant or what have you, or once the warrant goes out, it's open, he would give me a call and I'll be able to, talk to the bond and turn myself in and do all that. So
Okay.
that's what I knew. I knew about that.
Is that what set you off? Is that what pissed you off?
No, sir. I mean, I wasn't upset about that. I was just, as far as that particular.
You weren't upset about having charges filed on you?
No, I'm saying I wasn't upset about that. Like, mad at her. No, sir. I was not mad at her.
So that's where you're at on your end of it.
Yes, sir.
You sure that's what you want to stick with?
Yes, sir.
But it wouldn't be. Coming up on episode 2, after having 24 hours to ponder his situation, Brandon thinks of a genius plan to sidestep accountability for his actions. His demeanor will change, and he'll seem like a totally different person. I'll be posting episode 2 within the next 48 to 72 hours, so if you want to make sure you see it, make sure you drop me the link in the comment section. YouTube isn't perfect with their notifications, so I'm going to just notify you myself. Thank you for watching. They caught me. Till next time.